Okay, so today we'll be looking at a very common problem, container with most water. So let's look at the problem statement once. It's question number 11 of Leetcode. So the problem statement states that you are given an integer array height of length n. There are n vertical lines drawn such that two endpoints of the ith line are I0 and I comma height I index I. Find two lines that together with the x-axis form a container such that the container contains most water. Return the maximum amount of water a container can store. Notice that you may not start the container. So what we have to do is we need to return the maximum amount of water this container can hold between two lines that is two elements of the array. Height is our array here. Okay, so as we can see in this example, we have these two lines which can store the maximum amount of water, right? If we were to take this as a first line and bring it to somewhere around this line, it would not store the maximum water out of all of this. Or if we were to think that, okay, let's just take the first and the last line that would store the maximum water, that won't work either, okay? Because then it would be something like from this point, the first one, to the last one, right? And so here, from this one, the first one to the last one would again not store the highest amount of water, right? Let's look at an example, another example. So this is an example. We have an array, and this is the array height. So as you can see, 3, 7, 4, 5, 5, 7, 3, and 6, right? So if we see the maximum water would be stored between 1 and 6th position. So how do we calculate it? It would be width into height. That's how we calculate a rectangle's area, right? Width into height. So but in a rectangle, both the sides are same, right? The length and breadth. So it's something like the length, both lengths are same and both breadths are same, right? So in this, we can see that we would need to take the minimum of the height for example, in this case, the height is 7, but we can't take this because uh, this element side is 6. So we need to take both as 6, okay? So then it would be width into height, right? So we have the height, which is 6, and the width is 5. How can we calculate it? So it's simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And in a formula, we can use width equals to right minus left. Okay, let me just correct this. Just a second. Uh, Let me just correct this. This would be a 6 minus 1, which would be 5. Okay. And the minimum height, okay, between this 7 1, and this 6 1, the minimum height of the two is 6. So we will take that as a height, okay. So this problem would be solved by two pointers. A two pointer approach is usually when we take two different pointers and move them differently. In most of the cases, how it goes is we take a left pointer and a right pointer, we move the left pointer from left to right and the right pointer right to left. Similarly, in this case, what we would do is we would move a left pointer from the left side and a right pointer from the end. So a starting pointer would be at position 0 here, and the right pointer would be at position height dot then -1. We are solving this in Rust, so the syntax would be of Rust, but the concept and the method would be same across all the languages. The pseudocode would be the same, right? Um, so this would be right equals to, so the length of this is 7, right? Because the length of an array is the number of elements it has, but because array starts with the index 0, we need to do -1. Okay, so now let's move on to the code and understand it over there, because I think the problem statement is clear to us, right? So let's just move on to the code once. Okay, so first of all we will need let mute max area. We will take the max area variable, which would store our area, the maximum area that we need to find. For example, this one. Then we would take our pointers and we need to take it as a mutable variable, because the value would be changing. Similarly, we would be moving our pointers, so we need to mark them as mutable. So the left pointer would start from the leftmost side, which is 0, and the right pointer would start from height dot length -1. Okay, so how long do we need to move this from left to right? What we usually do is, in two pointers approach, this is a common practice. We uh, use while loop, which says while left is less than right. That means till the point the left pointer does not meet the right pointer, we would loop it through. Okay, so now let's find our width first of all. So the width would be right minus left, and because we need to return it in I32, we would say explicitly mark it as I32. Then let's make a variable current area. Okay, so this would give us the width, right minus left, like we saw here. 6 minus 1, 5, right? It would give us um, the current area, which would be width into height. But remember, like we said, we need to take the minimum of the two heights, right? If one height, one element is 7 and the other one is 6, then we need to take 6. Okay, so how will we do that? We would do height left dot min height right. So what this does is it multiplies the width with whatever is less here. If the height left is less than right, it would multiply it with it, and if the height right is more than left, it will multiply with the right one. Okay, so now let's update our max area. Right now it's 0 for the first iteration, 0 right now. Okay, so we do max area equals to max area dot max and current area. Okay, so what this does is, so we will be evaluating the area for a lot of the heights, right? A lot of the elements. Like we would be evaluating for this, for this, for this, right? So we need to fill it. Uh, we need the maximum one of it. Okay. So here we would check if the max area is greater than the current area. If it is, then it would remain the same. If it is not, then the max area would be updated with the current area. Okay. Like for example, here we have in the beginning the area is 0. Okay. So any area that we do right now would be greater than 0, right? So it would be stored there. And our next condition would be if height left is less than height right. Why did we do this? I'll explain it. Um, then we would do left plus 1, left plus equals to 1. That means we are moving the left pointer um, by 1, incrementing it by 1. And the else condition would be right minus equals to 1. So what this does is it would decrement the left pointer um, and move it towards the left pointer. Okay. Now we would return a max area variable, and that should be it for the question. Yes, as you can see, it beats 100%. Its runtime is 0 milliseconds. We can submit our code. And why we did this is because um, we want when because in this example, as we can see, if the left is less than this one, then we would want to switch to the bigger one. Why? Because if we were to take the area of this, we would know that this would not be the maximum if there is one greater, a greater height. So we would need to check for that. So we would move this to the next one. And if the left is greater than the right, then we would decrement the right one to check if the value changes. Okay. So yes, that's it for the video. Thank you.